it's Cindy. Welcome to Studioloo. So today I have a little flip through of, well, a big flip through of a big chunky tome that is kind of like a dark woodsy theme with undertones of all sorts of things, cemeteries, rust and eco-dyed paper, vintage industrial botanical, coffee-dyed pages, some darker papers, vintage dark and grungy kind of botanicals, baneful herbs and poison plants, some dark academia, forest, witchiness, celestial stuff, astrology, tarot, oracle, alchemy, all sorts of different elements, some natural history like cabinet of curiosity, bones, and herbarium, botanical, like all sorts of different kinds of things. So I will hop into it and you can just see what is inside. So this, like I said, is a chunky monkey. It's a little bit of a gator mouth. It's not a huge gator mouth, but it's a little bit because it is so stuffed full of ephemera and great paper. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 signatures, I thought. Okay, 7 signatures. And this book is entirely hand built. The cover is, let me just tip it so that the glare goes away. I almost said the glare. So hopefully you can see that the cover is made from different barks. So in the back this is all bark that I harvested from naturally bark that was shedding from a Norfolk pine tree, and also there is birch bark in behind from some trees that we had to cut down on some property that we there were little trees that were they were taking up way too much space. We had too many of them that they were kind of killing each other. So anyways, so the book itself, it's a vintage book cover that I built a new spine for, a large big fat spine. And you can see that the spine has been covered in my own eco-printed fabric, which is also right here underneath this book as I talk about it. You see this leaf print. So the back is green. We have 2 eyelets here, and then 2 eyelets punched through here as well, to basically string this big eco-printed fabric through. And that's how you close the journal. So let's hop inside here. So in order to use this book, you can, just pull these out completely, but you can also just kind of tuck them behind here so that you're not completely having to thread them every time that you open the journal. That's what I usually do with my journals when they have ties, is I just kind of give them a little tug like this and then just tuck them behind the spine. So let's try to do that with both of them. There we go. Okay. So now let's just straighten things up again here. Okay, so now we're inside the journal, and the first thing that you can see is this eco-printed fabric. So I've covered both of the back and front with just this beautiful eco-printed fabric, and the spine has been created also with an additional piece of it. Now this is an oak gall mordanted fabric and has been printed with all different kinds of plants. So the first page, we have a pocket and a belly band, and it's on some cabbage dyed large format encyclopedia paper. So inside we have this coffee lace dyed little tag with this cute mushroom, and then this is actually an Alphonse Mucha painting, been stitched around, and that just tucks in here. And then here we have a celestial sticker with some gold on this nice black and white forest picture. This side we have a lace pocket, and this is a Latin nature book, a botany book. And then this large tag inside with these elephants pulling at each other, and their trunks are snakes. And this is avocado dyed on back. This is from a digital kit with these beautiful butterflies, vintage bird book, and it flips out on this side with this raven. This is a vintage book about natural history, and it's really nice kind of old cottony paper, rusty paper clip holding this collaged journal card. This is a page from the Release the Crafton's Growth and Decay Kit, which I've used in this journal. And this is a vintage butterfly book, and I've added another butterfly here as a tuck spot for this collaged journal card. More dark woods and some anatomy. And this is the center of the first signature with this, this is actually an, oh, I forget the name of the turn of the century illustrator. He is an incredible illustrator, but anyhow. More anatomy, and then this is another page from that vintage botany book that has all of the scientific names of different plants. Then we have a vintage mail envelope here, and inside of it, a little journal card with an owl. So that just pops in here. And that just clips on this page here with a rusty paper clip. Okay, and then the other side of that vintage butterfly book, and another butterfly with this journal card. Coffee dyed paper. This is also from Release the Crafton's Growth and Decay Kit. This is more of that scientific book. And this is a vintage bird book page. Just this lovely deer, and another of those pockets made from some lace on a vintage botany book, and a tag and a large journal card inside the pocket. Both are backed in avocado dyed paper. And then this is rusty paper clipped on. It is a journal card. This black and white smudgy paper, cabbage dyed paper. And on this side we have a pocket that says "Nothing in Nature is Beautiful," Alfred Lloyd Tennyson. This is also from Release the Crafton's Growth and Decay Kit. It's also a large piece of paper that you flip up and can write on. It's been coffee dyed. And we have these three little journal cards inside, sort of tarot images. And signature 2 begins with this pocket made from some cemetery gravestones that I photographed. And this is a cool, like, industrial brain image. And this is a journal card that is made from fabric and has this kind of angsty fairy type lady on the front. This is also Growth and Decay Kit. It is just some nice, a pocket with this nice kind of wood meshy baskety feel, and this industrial crow. And then this, I've used throughout this book a lot of poetry from this book by Robert Graves, selected by himself. He's a relatively dark poet, but he has a lot of beautiful words. This is called Not to Sleep, and I won't read the whole poem because this video will be so long, but you will see this poetry throughout the book. And this is on a journal card from Release the Crafton Growth and Decay Kit. Coffee dyed paper, this super dark, fun coffee dyed paper. This is from a wedding guest book, and it's been inked around, has some nice ivy. And then this is just a really cool book page image. Let me just tip it so the glare goes away. You see the raven on her shoulder, and then an avocado dyed doily here that wraps around the page. Coffee dyed papers. And then this page is a nice lined page with some mushrooms at the bottom and this fun owl up here. And then this is a pocket with some nice images on back. It's from another vintage botany book. And inside is a book page from this really cool book that I love. Just of this woman sort of screaming, and she's got all these critters everywhere, and a bunny rabbit is hopping underneath her. And the back is coffee dyed. So it is like a giant journal card. Black and white botany image. This is Release the Crafton again. And back here we have a vintage CD envelope that's been coffee dyed with a mushroom here. And inside there is a journal card that I made from a German science book, and it's lined coffee dyed paper on back. That just pops in there. And this is a Robert Bateman sketch of owls, and it says Imagine, and this is just coffee dyed paper, and it's from the Release the Craft in Growth and Decay kit, a Vincent van Gogh quote, "If you truly love nature, you will find beauty everywhere." And then I just made this little flower with some book pages and inked it up. More of those Robert Bateman illustrations of owls and mice. This is just some botanical paper, and this moth, and a little page just with some dark forest on it. It's from the Story of the Wild Swans, and a little owl here, and this little phrenology kind of image of a hand, like a tarot reading image. And this is the center of the signature. It's this incredible book page from one of my favorite kind of darker children's books. It's got these little like moth-like creatures that are a little bit more anthropomorphic, and they're like just really, really cool. And then we have another poem down here from Robert Graves. It's called Nobody. And then we have this little flippy here that has these like labels and a little collage, kind of like an industrial brain, and some botany page. This is from a Robert Bateman book. It's these wolves, just a beautiful painting of wolves. And then this is kind of a pocket made from just a bunch of different lovely things on this cardinal paper. This is also Robert Bateman. And then we have a couple of journal cards. This one is from Release the Craftin. Coffee dyed paper. This is a Release the Crafting Growth and Decay page image. I'll just tip it so that the glare goes away a little. Some black and white botany. And this is some stinkhorn mushrooms and just some collaging on a vintage botany book. And this is a journal tag. And then this is more cemetery. This is a really cool gravestone that I made a pocket from. And then just another image of gravestones from the graveyard. And this caterpillar, coffee dyed paper. And then this woman she's pouring this liquid from a bowl. This is from a book page of like myths and magic. And then you'll see here there's avocado dyed doily all around the edges. And this is just a little flip of extra paper here. You could write a little secret here and flip it down. This is an avocado dyed doily. More of that wedding guest book with the ivy. Coffee dyed paper. This is actually a magazine page with just kind of these like dreamy houses, these little like in the middle of nowhere kind of little houses. And we have a tab made from a vintage file folder, and it says Cast Pools of Shadows Along the Forest Trail. And this is just a beautiful botanical image with some coffee dyed lace paper and this little deer down here. Then on this side, in this rusty paper clip, on top of this very old 1890s machine parts page, just like the industrial feel of that, we have this envelope, and inside we have a journal card that says, "Get lost under the spell of the moon." And that just paper clips on here. See more of the vintage machinery images. There we go. And some coffee dyed lace botanical paper. And then this is a book page about tale-telling cards and tarot. And there's some nice botanical fabric on this forest green cardstock paper. This is a Release the Craftin page with this animal skull and mushrooms. Coffee dyed on back with these dots. An anatomical page about the cardiovascular system and a fabric tab. This pocket with an owl, and it has this little bit of poetry here. It says, "He has that new malaise of time, gratitude choking with vexation, that he should opulently inherit the goods and titles of the extinct. and that's from Robert Graves. This is just a nice black and white botanical and a journal card with my eco-printed fabric on top. This is from the Release the Crafting kit and has another little Robert Graves poem on back. Just a little chipmunk notepad page, and this is from the Wild Swans. It's just kind of a dark story of this lovely Eliza in the water, and this is a botanical coffee dyed lace page. This is a magazine page from an art magazine. I just really like the background. And then on this page, this is a Release the Crafting background, and it has this vintage file folder envelope on top with mushrooms. Inside it is this journal tag. It's meant to go this way. You see this skeleton of this animal. It is on Release the Crafting paper, and it just tucks up into this little pocket here. And then this pulls out. You'll see the little black and white toad here, and some decaying leaves, and a ladybug on a spider web. And then this is a Release the Crafting image as well. Another Release the Crafting page with a ladybug and a fern, and there's a little eco-printed fabric tab here, and this little saint, this charm of this little saint in this glass. And this is a vintage piece of like jewelry. It's a little brooch pin. And then this is a pocket, a collaged pocket. It says, from flowers we can make perfumes, spices, oils, and wine, or poisons, dyes, and medicine, and teas that taste just fine. And then there is this journal tag inside. Another Robert Graves poem over here called Cat Goddesses. And in this rusty paper clip on top of a Release the Crafting page, we have this mushroom journal card. This is from a mushroom field guide. And another of those fun little skull gravestones. And then this is a journal card that I made from this image of a real gravestone that's in Cape Cod of Snow White. You can look it up online. There's a whole story about it. And then this is another Release the Crafting page with some nice insects and mushrooms. Over here we have a little, this is like a little pocket tuck spot with mushrooms on it, on this fun background from an art magazine, and then a couple things inside, a little journal tag with a mushroom, and this large journal card with all of these hawks, and that's from a vintage field guide. Nice background. And then here we have a flip up. So this is washi tape, and this is from a vintage or a mushroom field guide rather, and I'll just move it so that I can flip it up and show you. It does flip up, and there are more mushrooms on back here, and more writing space underneath. I'll just reposition again in the middle. And this is more dark woods and coffee dyed botany. And a little poem here from Robert Graves called Despite and Still. And some anatomy, coffee dyed dot paper. This is just a nice death's head moth image. And here we have a pocket on some green paper. It says, the wind began his song again, moaning through the pines. And it's just sort of a nature scene. And in the background we have this little pine cone envelope that's been stuck down. And this is a Release the Crafting journal card. It says, the winters now come fairly. And this is just kind of an image that I found very haunting. It's an authentic 1950s photograph. It's black and white of just this kind of scary looking man in the water. It's just a haunting image. And that's sort of the overall like feel of this journal. Hopefully you're getting that. And then we have a delivery pigeon standing on a hand here, and more tarot book page, and it flips out on this side as well and has some more just kind of tarot book information. And this is coffee dyed lace paper with botanicals on back, and then some more of that very old 1800s it's like an industrial mechanical kind of guide, mostly to different cars and machines. And then here we have a vintage folder that I've made some pockets and a tab here out of, and it's on some coffee dyed anatomy paper. And so inside this pocket with this fun rub-on print here, there's 3 things. So just a little dark academia card. On the back it says abdominal operations, and on the front it's just this scene of like someone writing and sketching in a window. Then this is actually a folded, it's actually a graveyard with lots of flowers. And on back it's avocado dyed paper. I like this because I feel like at a quick glance you would just see all the flowers and then you would realize later it was a graveyard. It's kind of cool. Then this is just a little palm reading image. Then on this side we have more of the vintage file folder, and it folds out so it's extra writing space. And under here we have a little celestial quote from Release the Craftin'. And up here with a rusty paper clip there's a little envelope that says Strange Vision. And inside the back here we open it up and there's a little mushroom journal card that just pops right in there. And it clips over this little flap. And this page is just a fun kind of dark academia, like maybe an art studio with some botany and butterfly watercolored images. And there's some of my eco-printed fabric up top. And on here I have stitched some avocado dyed paper for writing space. This is a dark image kind of this a deer and this kind of goat man. I'll just flip the book up a little so you can see it without the glare. It's from a book page. And down here I've collaged this, it's actually like a little Monopoly handmade kind of game piece. So this whole thing, let me just move the book down. This whole thing has been made into a tab that just flips right up completely. And there's vintage book paper that you can write on here, and then my botanical book paper underneath. Well, let's just recenter again. There we go. Okay, and then more of the botanical printed paper. Over here we have, this is a little mouse, and this is from an information guide, like a field guide about urban animals. And then this says The Fortunes of Richard Mahoney from a 1800s book, and it has some moon phases here. And this journal card inside from a vintage image, it says Something Magic Has Happened. And on this side we have 2 brown envelopes that have owls on them. Let me just adjust a little and tip it up so you can see with no glare. Sometimes the glare is a little much right now. It's not a lot of natural light. It's very rainy today. So in this one there is a journal card of, this is actually worms underground and all of the roots from the plants. And that tucks in the top envelope and that flips down. And then these owls, they're hiding this little bug journal card. And that just pops in there and flips down. And this is a page from Release the Craftin' with this beautiful beetle. Coffee dyed paper. This is another poem from Robert Graves called Midwinter Waking, and a little book page up here, stamp that says Printed Matter. And this is actually a double pocket made from a vintage file folder. So in the bottom pocket we have this specimen card that I made with some real pussy willows that I picked inside under this acetate, and a little coffee dyed label. It says The Haunted House. That's from a vintage book. So is this up top with numbers, and the back is grimy and coffee dyed, and it's been stitched around. And then up top we have this botanical image of a poison plant with some fabric and gold sequin up top, and that just tucks in the top of the pocket. And then there's this painting here. And this is a Release the Craftin' page. It's a J.R.R. Tolkien quote. All that is gold does not glitter. Not all those who wander are lost. The old that is strong does not wither. Deep roots are not reached by the frost. And we have some mushrooms and a little frog down there. Coffee dyed paper. This page is just collaged with some cabbage dyed paper, vintage book paper, and then some vintage encyclopedia images of like a fly and an owl, butterfly. This is a painting of the Hampstead elm. It's a huge elm tree. And then let me just move up a little here. There we go. Another Release the Crafting page with some owls and mushrooms. Coffee dyed. And then just, this is from a really cool book actually. It's just like an image of the ground. And inside it has the names of Italian winds, different words for the wind in Italian. And then this is just the back side of this book page. It has a saint here and some old architecture. And then coffee dyed paper. Release the Crafting page with the Death's Head moth and some skeletons, and very cool. And this is the other side of that elm page. On back we have some old photographic paper and a little poem here that says, "He opens his show, a day I can't go, any Friday is never my day." Coffee dyed paper and Release the Crafting page. And then this is just from a vintage book. It's got more painting on it, and it says index here from an old book. This side is botanically dyed, beautiful paper. Release the Crafting page. This is the Royal End. That's from an old book. This is an old book paper, and then a little skull and botanical image at the bottom. This is just a magazine, or sorry, a book page with this beautiful kind of teal colored rope. And over here we have a tuck spot made from this little journaling card with a mushroom. It is on botanically dyed paper that I dyed, and this is from a vintage bird book. It's a large journal card. Botanically dyed paper. This is a book page that I've stitched avocado dyed paper to. It's the back side of that page, and this is a trifold from Release the Crafting with some images that I've added and some words. Forgotten, Who Reveals Secrets, and the back is avocado dyed paper, and that tucks in there. Cabbage dyed paper, and you'll see this flip out of these. These are sticks on a beach, and this is an anatomical page. This side again is more botanically dyed paper. Just rusty paper clip on. We have two things. A large journal card that I've made. It's got botanicals on it. It's kind of dark. And then this is from Rupi Kaur's book. The moon is responsible for pulling tides out of still water, darling. I am the still water and you are the moon. And on back it says, the right one does not stand in your way. They make space for you to step forward. And that's from The Sun and Her Flowers, an incredible collection of poetry by Rupi Kaur. She is a local poet, an author, an incredible person. This is some rusty cogs that I used to dye my botanical paper. This is kind of this vampire movie image of these people walking in the woods. And on back we have a collaged pocket made with some sort of, there's a skeletal hand, and there's some celestials and botanicals. And then there's a bunch of things inside here. This is just a grungy dark page. And then there's this journal card, The Turn of the Tide, and it's just this photograph of like a lonely dock over some very still water with a stormy sky. Cabbage dyed paper on the back. So that tucks in there. And then we have this tag. This is a fabric tag that I made from some dyed fabric that I dyed with Prochem dyes. And then sort of like a moon image that I've made out of a botanically dyed fabric. And that's a big journal tag there. And then a couple more things. This little piece of paper that has this owl on it. It's labeled at the bottom. And then this one says Magicians and Sorcerers. And it's just some kind of like dark images. And that's from an art magazine. This is eco-printed construction paper. It's kind of a goldy orange and yellow color. And then Release the Crafting page with this skeletized deer or moose, I guess, with those antlers. Then this side is a collaged pocket from a vintage botanical book. And inside we have this tag. This is a Release the Crafting image. A little leaf up here, and it says scarcely more than a whisper. And this is a horror movie image of like a vampire. And then a couple of moths here on this paper. It's been coffee dyed. Another moth down here. And then on this side we have a belly band, and I've used some very old 1800s Italian book page, little tiny book pages from a book, and this is like a medical image up top of forceps. And then this tag is inside. It says The Old Road Through the Woods. And this is from Release the Craftin', and some sari on top. That just tucks in there. And then just some tools and instruments here. This is from an herb book. Has some poison plants. And this is Release the Craftin' image and some vintage crochet lace, and I've made a side tuck pocket, and it's on another of the growth and decay pages from Release the Craftin'. Then this is a journal card that says look around if you want. The image is from Release the Craftin', and I've stitched and added a bulb pin with some little metal leaves here, and that just tucks in the side. And then just a black and white botanical, an image of a staircase. This is Names of Flowers and Plants. And then just these posters, kind of some more of the dark academia type feel. And then this is Hansel and Gretel from a vintage book, Running Through the Woods. And there's a tab here. And this is another image with coffee dyed paper on the back. It's a large journal card of these hawks from a vintage field guide. This is a Release the Craftin' page. And this is more of that herb book. Another pocket made from Italian book page with another of these forceps images. More tools and things in back. And then a couple journal cards in here. This one is from a medical book, and this is about swallowed foreign bodies, and it has x-ray scan images of things that people have swallowed. And it's a journal card made from book page paper on back. And then this is just a little image of a bird and some flowers. Both have little strings tied to them. And this is an upper tuck pocket made from that vintage Italian book with some Release the Craftin' imagery and this vintage lace up here. And inside is just this, it's kind of like eerie, but it's literally just a picture, like a sculpture, but the picture's been cut into 4 pieces and put back together, so it makes it a little more eerie. And this is a coffee dyed page. Some beautiful moths, vintage image. This is another book page from a vintage horror film. And on back we have this King Kong image. I thought it was fun to have this old monster movie image in here. And some gold leaves, and it says The Darkness of Pine Branches. And then on this side we have a book page pocket, mushroom, avocado dyed paper. And then this is a trifold from Release the Craftin'. Just some nice botanicals and some eco-dyed construction paper. Here we have a pocket made from some kind of magical images and a picture of a heart. And then in this pocket we have a bunch of things. So first of all, it's on some inked up paper. And inside, this is actually a giant journal card, piece of stationery really, with avocado dyed paper on back. And on the front is, oops, it's upside down. This is from an art book. It's just kind of an eerie image of a woman in a mask, like a masquerade mask. It's a beautiful painting. So that tucks in the back. And then we have this image from a vintage bird book, Little Owl and Barn Owl. And this is St. Cobb's oil. It's just a little digital medicine tag, and then a little image of a mushroom. And this is from a book. It's just this kind of eerie image of a carriage in the woods. This is botanical and rusty cog dyed paper. And I've added some crochet lace here. This is a collaged kind of page. It's just some old kind of cobblestone houses in England, and has this fairy, kind of mourning fairy, just standing at the top. It's kind of dark. And then on this side, we have a flip out of a bunch of pine branches, and that's more writing space there. And then this is like all insects. It makes a giant pocket, and it's on a page that is from a vintage botanical book. Then this is a witchcraft story from a very old book that I have stitched together in 3 parts. So it's like 3, it's one story, but it's all in, it's in 3 pieces that have been stitched together. And that just all tucks in there. And this is a Release the Craftin' image with some mushrooms and a skull and some plants. Then this is a padded tag. It actually has like bubble wrap underneath it, and it's got eco-printed paper on top. It's a tuck spot for this journal card of these mushrooms in a windowsill. It says brown owl led them to the toadstool. And here, this is coffee dyed paper underneath, and this is from the Natural History Notebook, and it's an image of the raven. More of that coffee dyed paper. And then this is from a vintage 70s insect field guide. And then rusty paper clipped on here, we have this authentic postcard from, I believe, the 50s that I got from a vintage auction of this gentleman. And this is Release the Craftin' from her Growth and Decay kit. And that just pops up there. And on this side we have a pocket, again from Release the Craftin', and in back there's this phrenology head. And this is like a cabinet of curiosities type journal card with 3 acetate windows, moths in behind, and coffee dyed lace paper on back. This is an image from Release the Craftin'. It's Growth and Decay kit, and I've added a little silk leaf here. And then a pocket with a skeletonized hand on coffee dyed paper. A couple things in here. So first is this vintage music page, The Midnight Hour. It's just kind of a cool thing. And then this is a journal card I made from a vintage bug field guide. This is green cardstock with some of my eco-printed fabric. On the side is a tab. And then just a dark sky. This is a Release the Craftin' Growth and Decay page. And on this side, this is from an art magazine, Pearls in Natural History, and it just shows a woman kind of deeply diving into this dark ocean after this. It's an oyster with, like, you can see a bright pearl inside of it. And then inside here we have a couple things. So first, this is a journal card. And then a little journal card. And then just a celestial image here. This is a Release the Craftin' page. And this is an image from the wild swans, of the swans carrying Eliza away in their net. This is a large journal card of this sort of dark, enchanted fairy woman in the dark woods, and the back is inked, and it's just the green cardstock paper, and that's just on there with a rusty paper clip. Just plunk that back on there. Then on this side we have this mushroom image. It's a little tuck spot here. I think it actually, yeah, you can flip up the bottom if you want to write on the back. And it's on coffee dyed paper. Then this is from Release the Craftin'. It says Back to Sleep. And on back, these 2 skulls and a flowery heart image. And then we have, this is a page from the Robert Graves book with 2 poems. On this side, there's Language of the Seasons, and on this side, Frightened Men. And so that tucks up in there. This is a Release the Craftin' page with this beautiful dragonfly. And another one with this skull. Another of those pages from the Vintage Insect Guide. And this is coffee dyed paper. Release the Craftin' page. And then this is an image of a lady in the woods, this beautiful like dark wood with all of these kind of little troll figures and mice, and it says Powers of Ancient Spells. It is on a vintage botanical book that you can see some of the scientific names, and then there is a mushroom journal card inside from a mushroom field guide. And then this side is just a napkin collaged kind of cabbage dyed page. Has nice texture to it. And then on this side we have this flip out of this aconitum. It's a poison plant with beautiful flowers. And on back there's another plant, troll bloom. And down here we have a pocket with celestial images that I've stitched some measuring tape to. And then in the back it's actually cabbage dyed large format encyclopedia with some coffee dyed lace and botanicals on the back. Lots going on this page. And then this is a journal card that's covered in acetate with the moon, and it says, fear is the path to the dark side. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. And on the back we have avocado dyed paper, cabbage dyed paper, coffee dyed paper, celestial image up top. This is from a book page, and it says, the eyes of the skull gleamed steadily, lighting the way for her, but the skull itself made not a sound. And this is a book page with this girl, and she has like a magical skull on a stick. Release the Craftin page. This is from a book page. It's some Latin with some bugs. And here we have a large journal card. It's just this really nice, there's a moth that's been stamped on back, and we have this green cardstock and just this beautiful image of these thistles. This is a Release the Craftin page with this vulture and this mushroom. And over here we have an envelope made from an image from the wild swans. And this is of Eliza in the thistles. And there's some lace up here. This is coffee dyed paper with some gray, black and white botanicals. And then this is a journal card. It's a Release the Craftin image. And that just tucks in there. Then on this side we have a pocket made from the family tree of insects, and you can see it is on botanical paper. We have a celestial Galileo quote and some more Release the Craftin imagery back here. And then this large journal card. These sort of bat-like fairies in a fairy circle. Coffee dyed lace paper and a black widow. This is a real ghost leaf that I made like a tuck spot out of. And this is a little bat card. It says spells and enchantments. And this is just the starry sky and an image of a woman kind of being pulled at from all sides. This is from the wild swans. This is a coffee dyed paper. Just beautiful, almost like the sky, this coffee dyed paper. It's amazing. And more wild swans images. And then over here, this is kind of like a dark engraving image from an art book of this woman kind of being terrorized by these different creatures. And it says, two sisters tempted by goblins in the woods. And then in the tuck spot, we have this Release the Craftin envelope. And inside, there is a journal card, also from Release the Craftin. I've used most, if not all, of the Growth and Decay kit in this journal because it was just really appropriate for the theme. And this is another of those ghost leaves. And a little piece of paper about mushrooms. And this is a Robert Bateman page with this raven flying over the woods. Then this is kind of a double pocket. Well, it is a double pocket. So here we have this kind of blue image at the bottom, and then the House on the Hill poem here by Edward Arlington Robinson. And then inside we have a large piece of botanical book page, has a flower color chart on the back, and that tucks in first. So that just tucks in behind both of these pockets like that. Then we have these fairies and trolls here on this journal card, and that tucks in the front pocket. Then some more black and white botanicals on coffee dyed paper. This is an image from Release the Craftin's Growth and Decay of a frog, kind of with butterfly wings behind it, but you can see its anatomy, and some little laces up top here. Green cardstock with some vintage crochet lace. Then we have this pocket here. It says Goblin Market, and it's a woman. She's cutting her hair, and it looks like they're making some kind of a witchy brew here. She's got some little friends, a beaver and a mouse and an owl. And in behind you will see there is, this is on a vintage bug book paper with some coffee dyeing and some nature study notebook back here. And then inside is this envelope. And inside of it we have, this is avocado dyed on back, but then it's like an herb card about ranunculus and borage. Go in there, and that just tucks in there, and then tucks up here. There we go. This is a page that is all about entomology, entomology treaties, and a pin board of entomological examples. And then there is some avocado dyed paper up here. On this side we have some of my eco-printed fabric. You can see the leaves and the little birch catkins here. And this is cotton. And I've stitched on this beetle. And you flip that up, it's a fabric flip, and there's some more paper to write on below. This is another fun page from the Growth and Decay kit with the flowers and a snake. And then over here, this is actually a quote from the same kit that says, "The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep, and miles to go before I sleep, and miles to go before I sleep." And on this side we have another ghost leaf. I made a pocket from this time, and these are both book page images that I just thought both were amazing. This is a black cat on this log or tree limb with a snake wrapped around it, and then there's a piece of paper inside from Release the Craftin'. It's just a coffee dyed whole piece of paper. This is "The clearest way into the universe is through a forest wilderness" from John Muir. That tucks in there. And then this is just a morning picture from a book. And then this side is coffee dyed paper, and we have some more anatomy here. And these two pages make a pocket that I just added this goblin image to. And so that concludes this gigantic journal. Just pop that back in here. And on back you'll see more of my eco-printed fabric and the ties. And that is the entirety of this dark and woodsy kind of magic and, you know, myth journal with lots of dark undertones to it. I like this lacing technique that I did up the side. I think it's kind of fun. It's a good way to lace up a tome and keep it nice and securely closed. And you can just tie a nice big bow on front so it looks nice and keeps the book closed. So that is the full journal, and I hope you enjoyed having a look at it. I had a lot of fun making it, and I hope you have a wonderful day. You can see all my social media information down below in the description box, and until next time, take care.